My brother and I were on our way to someplace or other. I don't remember anything about this trip or anything other than what happened the minute my friend got in the car. She had never met my brother. So as my brother and I pulled up, she got in the car, and after a few moments, after we pulled away from the curb, she poked her head in between the seats, of the front seats, and looked at my brother like a curious animal and said, "Who are you? What's your deal? What's your story?" And my brother looked at her like you're looking at me. He had no idea what to make of her or how to answer. But every once in a while, when I see my friend, I always want to ask her, "Who are you? What's your deal? Tell me your story. Who are you?" Today's readings are very much about who we are as individuals and as a community. Who are you? And who are you going to be? Because who you are doesn't stay the same. Who you are can change. And God can be the source, is the source of that change. Political theorists, when they talk about liberty, they talk about certain kinds of selves that we seem to have. And on one side, you have like this unencumbered self, this free self, this kind of self-made self. There's this self that stands back from all of the attachments and all of the labels that you have. How you might answer the question, "Who are you?" You might have your name and your family's name and where you're from, and maybe you discuss politics and religion in polite company, and you tell them your political affiliation, your religious affiliation, or your favorite color, or where you shop and what you do. And there's all of these things out there. There's a self that stands here, and then there's all the things that you might be, and those labels that you adopt constitute yourself. And you can choose between these different things, because there's this self that exists beyond them. Now, other people go, that's not really the story. They espouse this encumbered self, this constitutive self. Because the more labels you have, especially like politics or religion or your thoughts and feelings, those kind of make up who you are. Those kind of tell you really who you are. And this is when we tell each other, who we are, or talk about our story. We're not talking about something that we have at arm's length. We're talking about something that's here. So there's this encumbered self, this embedded self that's attached and in there. It doesn't leave much room for things to change. And when Paul writes to the bickering Galatians, he says things have changed. For a long time, you had a disciplinarian. The word is pedagogos. It's disciplinarian teacher, lawgiver. It's somebody who gives you a system, a law, a set of rules, a set of labels that helps you navigate the world. And when you're a child, you need that. You need the guidance. You need the labels. What's good, what's bad, what's right, what's wrong, what's better, what's worse. It helps you navigate the world. When you grow up, you learn that there's something about these attachments that tells me who I am, but then there's choices I have to make. And the labels stop serving me. Paul says that now that Jesus has come in this community, in this time, in this space, those labels you've been using don't apply anymore. The self that you had is different and can change. Here, in this time, in this space, there's no Jew or Greek, no slave or free, no male and female. You're all children and heirs to the promise. When God intervenes, you take on another identity that's larger and prior to all of those labels that once guided you. And you are transformed. Who are you? A transformed child of God. And those labels that you might have adopted once upon a time don't apply here in this space, here in this time, here for this purpose. No Jew, no Greek, no slave, no free, male or female. And you can add a few more. No black, no white. No immigrant, no native born. No rich, no poor. No Democrat, no Republican. Here you are called to transcend what you might have thought was who you were and live into the love that God is calling you out to be. And this transformation is difficult because we are trapped, all of us, in one way or another. Trapped by those labels, trapped by our thinking, trapped by our addictions, our pasts, the anxiety of the future, the cruelty of the past, the violence in our world. We're living underneath so much. Our troubles are legion. We are possessed until Jesus comes to transform us and our community. Much like the Gerasene demoniac, as is phrased, but the man with demons. We live among the tombs, among death and cruelty and pain and suffering. We're shackled. We're held down. Until someone can tell us who we really are. Jesus asks, "Who are you?" to the demon. "What's your name?" And he says, "Legion." Knowing a demon's name gives you power over it in the ancient world, and so Jesus is able to, negotiate with the demon and send them into the swine. But he's not asking about the identity of the demon, or not only asking about the identity of the demon, but protecting the identity of the man who's possessed, giving him the freedom to be who he would love to be. This is a man on the outside of the outside of society. Notice Jesus comes over to land opposite Galilee, into Gentile territory, into those who don't keep the law like the people on the other side of the lake. And this man is outcast even from them. He lives among the tombs. He's possessed. He's naked. He is the uncleanest of the unclean. But Jesus understands he's only that way because he's held down by his anxieties, by his depression, by everything that plagues him. And Jesus names those things that are holding him back. Gets those things to name themselves as legion. And exorcises those demons. Freeing the man to be clothed and at the feet of Jesus, beloved of God. And that transformation isn't just limited to the individual. It transforms the community. Much to the chagrin of the swineherds, who see the demons go into the swine and their livelihood just falls under the lake. I've always felt really bad for them. Jesus comes in, he heals somebody, but then he just terrorizes the community, upends everything. And this is the way communities react to change, react to the transformation that God brings. We see individuals being transformed, and we'd rather side with the demons we know. We've gotten used to living on this side of the lake and eking out an existence of anxiety and sadness and pain and violence and cruelty. We've figured out a way to make this work for ourselves. And we have a hard time letting go of the labels that have served us for so long. The systems of thought that hold us back until we can name them as a community. Racism, sexism, militarism, elitisms of the human heart. All of those things that possess us. When we as a community can name them and let them go, we can allow God to complete the transformation begun in every one of us. For peace and justice and love and grace. Who are we? We are the transformed, individually and communally, when we exorcise those demons that hold us back, when we live into God's freedom from the possession that we live. So peek between the front seats of the car and ask yourself, ask your community, who are we? Who are we meant to be? Are we these labels that have defined us for so long? Or are we children of God? Are we static creatures who just enjoy our inheritance? Or are we transformed and part of the transforming of our communities? Who are you? What's your deal? And what will be your story?